23 years, everyone on the Peninsula comes out to enjoy the Concours de Elegance, and this year did not disappoint. Held at the Los Verdes golf course, hundreds of the most pristine and top cars in their class are featured at this event. This year's theme was automotive standards from around the world. Mark J. Dottie and his special guest join us from the event.
Hello everybody, we're here at the Concours de Elegance,
the biggest car show on the Peninsula.
And we're going to talk to some of the owners, and I've got my father here because he knows a little bit more about the cars than I, and hopefully you can learn something new.
Yeah, I expect we will learn a lot from the owners, new stuff about old cars.
Let's go take a look.
Let's go. And this is your car, a Hudson, is that right?
That's correct. It's a 1951 Hudson Hollywood Hornet.
Why the Hollywood?
It was a rare model that was made in the early 50s, and I got it because of my interest in being a film producer.
And does this car have a unique or an unusual engine?
Yes, in late 1951, Hudson introduced, to keep up with the racing, a 7X motor. So this one has an undivulged horsepower rated about 210 horsepower in a straight 6 2-carbureted engine. And when you got into a Hudson, the frame was higher and built into the car. It's a unibody, and then you step down into it when you sit.
Well, we're here with a legend, a living legend, Art Fitzpatrick, who is an artist in his own right, as well as was involved in the concepts and designs of vehicles, which are here at the show. Tell me, you were pointing out one of the vehicles that you know that you were a major contributor to.
It's the ones that as I say, that particular Darren, the one that's sitting over there, that Kaiser Darren, I used that in a postage stamp, and I did some ads for Kaiser Darren, so I kept back doing that. I did the announcement ads for the Darren designed Kaiser car. And that was so it all comes back. But
it brings you back when you can go out there, when you can see that car right
30 years doing the advertising and forget the designing.
This is what?
It's a 1954 Kaiser Darren Roadster. Kaiser built 435 of them in 1954 before they went out of business. And in about 1974, I found this car in Cathedral City, California, out by Palm Springs.
And then back to the original.
And it looked just like this, didn't it?
No, it sure did not. The car had been caught in a flood at that time. Parked behind an apartment building, and it was sitting there, the complete flood damage to the body, the car, the upholstery, and between the flood, the sunlight, and so forth, it was a total mess.
Oh, this is a beautiful car. Are you the original owner?
No, I'm this, I don't know how many owners before me, but I bought the car out of Nebraska. The guy had already halfway restored the car, but I found it was an original LA car built in March of '57, and it was a perfect car for a fuel-injected car. So I built it as a number matching fuel-injected car. And in '57, they built less than 70 fuel-injected cars.
And did it take you just a couple of months to rebuild this whole thing?
No, it took me 12 years.
And I assume a few bucks out of your pocket as well, right?
$12.
Did you do the rebuilding yourself, or did you have somebody do it?
I had Sparks Restoration do a lot of the work. Michael Damaraki did some work, and Brad Dunn did some work. 3 different experts.
And I assume this is not an everyday driver, is it?
Oh, heck no. It's got 12.9 miles.
Total?
Total.
Wow. But it is drivable?
Yes.
And if you're looking to add some new art pieces or just want to be inspired by art, then this is the event for you. On September 26th and 27th, the Palos Verdes Art Center will hold an event called the Artist Studio Tour. For a glimpse of what's in store, here is Mark J. Dottie.
We're here at the PV Art Center where the 11th annual Artist Studio Tour will be taking place at the end of the month. We had a chance to catch up with Dawn Crocker, who tells us all about it.
It's going to be 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, September 26th and 27th. It'll be from 10 till 5 in the afternoon. It will include 8 studios plus this gallery and our other gallery down in the promenade. 4 of the studios will be of artists that haven't been part of our studio tour before. There'll be 40 artists. There'll be artists at each one of these venues. It's really a very, very interesting experience.
I started off being a realistic artist and working in watercolor, water medium. And then I began doing oil and exploring with the oil paintings and still doing pretty realistic work. And then a few years ago, I've always had a tendency to abstract in my work. I really broke loose, and I am doing a lot of abstract work, and I find it very satisfying. For me personally, as an artist, you need to satisfy yourself first, and if somebody happens to like your work, that's great. But I never paint thinking about somebody might want to buy it. It's always something. I, in fact, sometimes don't even want to sell the work. And then recently I started doing ceramic work, and it's great.
You're on the cover of the brochure, and you're a newbie, as you said.
A newbie this year.
How long have you been involved in the whole group?
1 year in October.
Wow, what did it take to end up on the cover of the brochure? How fun is that?
It is fun. It wasn't me, it was Gabrielle and the group who honored me with this.
I've been a member of the Photographic and Digital Artists Group of PV for, several years now. So it's one of the 8 art groups I think they have here. So I decided to try the Village Artists out and see if they could sell anything through this group. I'm not a great technical photographer, but I like playing with the pictures more. I'm more of the Madrona Marsh guy, so I have had 2 solo shows at the Madrona Marsh some years ago, and picture I'm putting up today is from the Madrona Marsh and the one that's on the wall.
I really encourage everyone to think about coming on the studio tour. You can do it either by phone or over the internet.
And for more information on the Art Studio Tour, you can go to artist-studio-pvac.com. And in sports, we had the opportunity to meet a very special lady who traveled all the way from Holland to our community, where she's getting ready to swim from Catalina all the way back to the Palos Verdes Interpretive Center. She's doing this all in the name of charity to support breast cancer awareness.
Well, tonight around 11 p.m. I'll be jumping in the water at Catalina Island, and I will swim ashore. I have to walk out of the water and walk onto dry land, and then I start my swim towards the mainland. So it's about 34 kilometers, 21 miles. I'm doing it solo, and I love it. I hate it at times, but it is my passion, and I am doing it for charity. I always do these swims for breast cancer. I've lost a dear friend in January, and I have another very dear friend who's not doing so well either. So close to my heart.
When did you start doing this as far as swimming? What was your passion for swimming?
My passion for swimming started when I was around 11 years of age, but then got cut short around 16, just a time thing, and I was always better at long distance. The mile swim was, in those days, was long distance, but in my 40s, 41, I literally woke up one day, I turned to my husband, I hadn't trained for 20 years, and I said to my husband, I'm going to swim the English Channel next year. And he completely, okay, sure you are. I didn't even know where the local training pool was. I knew where all the children's pools were because I have 2 sons. And I started training, and on the 1st of September 2013 I swam the English Channel, and in a time of 12 hours 46 minutes, and had a very rough day. I actually got the trophy for swimming in the worst conditions of the season, but I made it. I threw up the whole way, I injured my shoulder, but you know, when you want to do something, you just give it everything, and you do it. I have a boat. You always follow the boat. They know which way they're going. And I have a kayaker in the water. The boat demands it because of marine life. So I have a kayaker. I stop every 30 minutes, tread water for about 20 seconds. I take on energy drink, maybe a little fruit. 20 seconds though, and you tread water while you do this. You're not allowed to touch the kayak or the boat, and then you just start swimming again. So it's very meditative. I don't know, the stroke is very meditative. You do overarm freestyle, and yeah, you sort of go into your own world really. And because it's very non-sensory, you're sensory deprived when you swim. People, it's your mind that gets you through, and people who get you through. So my friends who, when I have pains, for example, I think about my friends who are suffering from cancer and the reason why I chose that charity, and they motivate me. Oh, so what? You've got a sore shoulder. Get yourself moving.
And football season is upon us, and both Peninsula and PV High are looking to improve from last season. I caught up with PV High's head coach Guy Gardner, who tells us what it's going to take to get back to championship form.
I think the challenge is the guys that were playing supportive roles are now looked upon to play major roles. And that's a process, and that's, as they say, there's no substitute for game experience, so that takes a while. And then, of course, you got your younger guys that has to, they have to get game experience too. So I wish I knew the exact answer to that, and when that's going to happen and when that's going to all mesh together. And right now we're in the midst of working on it.
You are definitely under the mentality of one game at a time philosophy. How do you get younger athletes to buy into that?
Yeah, that's sometimes difficult too. Is this a cliche or is this what you really believe in? And it's not unique. You hear this a lot. One game at a time. But we really try to break this down to not just one game at a time, but one practice. And just concern yourself with that one play that's ahead of you, and then go to the next one after that. And I think when everybody, we've, myself and my staff, we've had the good fortune of being here, together for a while. I think because of that, the kids already know that that's coming. Now each team's different. Each team has to really, you could call it believing in that, you call it trust, whatever you want. And I think, again, that's what we're working on right now. Are we just saying this, or are we really working on just one game at a time, one practice at a time, one play at a time? I think once these guys figure out that that it works, or you can also say that doing it another way isn't as great for us, things will start to change, and right now we're struggling, and I think we really need to break this thing down. We need to get better as a football team and at fundamentals, and that really is one practice at a time.
You lost Steven last year under center. Who do you look toward now, and the guys that are pretty much involved, who's getting the nod, who's shaping up?
Yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we every year you lose really good guys, and we had, including Stephen Del Carson last year and Lucas Cooper, and there are a bunch. I think what we miss a lot is their leadership, not just their play. Their play was awesome too, but their leadership. And so I think that's, again, a process. We've got captains, we've got seniors, but then they have to learn how to lead. And sometimes it's not natural for them because they were used to those guys too that I just mentioned, and now they've got to do it. So that's a process, and they're starting to figure that out. As far as actual players, the quarterback's a big spot, and right now we've got, we've kind of boiled it down to about 3 guys that we feel could play this thing at any time. So we're working on trying to figure that out, and I get, frustrated sometimes. I wish they would make me figure that out, make it easier for me. But right now, they're all 3 trying really hard. But honestly, we haven't found the right. We haven't gotten to one guy, and if we might be a 2 quarterback system, I don't know. We like all 3. We do, certain things with all 3, but all 3 can do what we ask them to do also. So that's also a process. We're still trying to figure out who that quarterback's going to be. Maybe it won't be just one guy the whole time. Maybe it's going to be a system where we're rotating guys in depending on the situation and the game.
So maybe quarterback by committee.
Could be, and it's not what it's not what I'm used to. But I don't think the team. I think the team is used to it. I don't think it's a huge deal for the offense right now. But as I told the quarterbacks, if one of you guys does make a separation, and okay, we'll go with that too. It could be we just play the hot hand. We play somebody in a game, and if it looks pretty good, then that guy gets his choice, gets his chance. And then next time maybe it's somebody else's. But I think it's important that the quarterbacks keep competing, and they understand that within the team concept, that whatever happens that game, okay, that, and whatever I'm doing, it's helping the team. And we're fortunate that those guys can also play other positions too. So if they're not on the field, we're trying to get them, if they're not on the field as a quarterback, we're trying to get them on the field doing something else.
And if you're looking for a new place to hang out, then we have the place for you. O'Flaherty's Tap House is the only pub on the hill, and in addition to spirits, they offer some very unique culinary choices. Here's more from Mark J. Dottie.
We're here at O'Flaherty's Tap House, which is the only pub on the peninsula. Is that right?
That's right, between Redondo and San Pedro.
And what made you say this is the spot right here at Golden Cove to open a pub?
It's an area that seemed to be lacking craft beer, and it was just by fluke that I discovered this area on my own, and I was like, this is a great area to have a pub. There aren't any craft beer places around the area, no direct competition. Basically puts me in a monopoly position on the whole peninsula. So I just looked into it and it turned out to be a great location.
Now there are restaurants with some bars in them, but what makes a pub different than that?
It's the craft beer. We're really a craft beer pub, which everything's centered around the craft beer first. The food comes secondary.
And so for those who aren't really familiar with craft beer, maybe they enjoy a Budweiser on the weekend or something like that. What's different about a craft beer compared to some of these store-bought beers?
Well, the difference between a craft beer and a commercial domestic beer would be lower production, the freshness of it, having a good local craft beer made and getting it to your place fast is huge.
What's kind of got you into the beer world? What got you there?
Well, I come from the wine country, and which is Sonoma County, Healdsburg, Sonoma County. And basically that's all we do up there is wine and craft beer. I was introduced to craft beer through a couple of really well-known breweries up there when they came in around the late 80s, early 90s. And it just hits home to stay in that business down here.
I have the blackberry cider by Two Rivers.
Do you have a regular drink that you like here?
The cider, I go gluten-free, so they have cider and wine.
Good. And what made you start coming here? What made this place stand out?
Well, before I was diagnosed with celiac, and before I went gluten-free, I love beer. So I come in here, the location's perfect, the staff is very friendly, so it's a nice little stop in on my lunch break and, have a good conversation and a good beer and lunch.
So tell me a little bit about your food items. What kind of features do you have here? What are some of your favorites?
What we have here is a National Hebrew hot dog on a signature pretzel bread bun. What we do is we put it with a kettle chip. They definitely complement each other in flavor. This one's called a Sausalito sandwich. It's a turkey and ham sandwich with everything on it. And it also comes with the kettle chips and a side of pickles if you want pickles on your sandwich. This is our pretzel bomb burger. We grill these outside on a grill, and we grill the bun, and we basically serve them with a side of kettle chips and all the toppings on the side, so you can put it together the way that you like it. And really, between the grilled burger and that pretzel bomb bun, that thing is just amazing. It's people walk in, they have it, and they're addicted, they come back.
Well, now I've got the Sausalito here calling my name. It's chicken and turkey on the signature pretzel bread, and I've just got to try this. And Maria, you know what? I took too big of a bite. I got to toss it back to you.
Looks good to me. O'Flaherty's is located in the Golden Cove Shopping Center. And it's that time of year when all the ghosts and goblins come out to get you ready for all the festivities. The city of Rancho Palos Verdes will sponsor a trunk and treat event. For more on the ghoulish fun, here's Pixie and Trixie.
Hi, Pixie. How are you today? I'm good. What brings you here today? I want to come over and see what you're doing. Well, I'm just here getting ready for the Kids Music Fest, which is going to be on October 24th. But it's not just a music fest, it's also a trunk or treat event as well. Really? We're decorating trunks and giving treats out to kids, and we're looking for families to come or friends or organizations to come and decorate their trunks to hand out treats to kids in the neighborhood. You'd be perfect because you're always clowning around. Oh, So I think they should all come in costume then. That would be great, because we're going to have a costume parade too. I sure hope everybody joins us on Saturday, October 24th at Ladera Linda Community Center from 10 to 2 p.m. Happy Halloween!
And finally, the history of the Palos Verdes Peninsula can be wrapped up in one name, Frank Vanderlip. A recent book authored by Vicki Mack has been adapted into a feature-length film. The documentary dives into the story of the farm boy who helped create the largest bank and Federal Reserve. For more information on the story, here is filmmaker Vicki Mack.
I keep saying that this project is like the universe. It keeps expanding in all directions. And this was the next logical expansion. There was just so much story to tell. I thought it was going to take about 3 months to write a book on Frank Vanderlip, and members of his family just laughed when I said that. They said there's no way. It took me 9 months every day from morning till night, and the story is still going. I'm still finding new parts of it 2 years later. Well, first of all, we started, of course, filming around here, and then Frank was born in Aurora, Illinois, and I had been there before to work on the book. They were very, very welcoming and helpful, and we've done some recreations of scenes along the way. So they rounded up a kid for me in Aurora who played Frank when he was 18 years old, and that was really fun. And then I was off to New York City, and we actually did some filming in the big, beautiful bank building at 55 Wall Street, where Frank used to have his bank. It's the Cipriani Event Center now. It's just gorgeous. And then I went up to Beechwood, Frank's house up on the Hudson River. And again, they were fantastic. They helped us. They got us a Frank look-alike up there, and so we had the ghost of Frank Vanderlip walking through Beechwood.
I told Vicki, I said, Frank Vanderlip was an unsung hero. He did a great deal for this country, for Palos Verdes. He bought Palos Verdes with 49 investors. And a lot of people just know that he bought Palos Verdes, but very few people really know his role in history. He was one of the founders of the Federal Reserve. He bought Palos Verdes. He made Palos Verdes what it is today, a beautiful place to live, and it was because of his visions, his ideas, and what he wanted to do with Palos Verdes. There was going to be a artisan colony village where Golden Cove and City Hall is now. He had visions of Tuscan and Mediterranean style homes for this whole area. He planted over 200,000 trees. All these Brazilian pepper trees that you see, these were all planted by Frank Vanderlip. He was kind of a Johnny Appleseed. And you're going to see a lot of little interesting things in the documentary about Frank Vanderlip that very few people know.
I've been an editor for about 10 years with Dogpile Productions. Edited some feature films and documentaries, mainly documentaries. I've done The Apprentice Jockey and The Typewriter in the 21st Century. This is my third feature documentary. I'm not really into finances, so I was surprised to find that I was interested in this. And I even, I'm pretty honest in the beginning. I just said, that doesn't sound interesting. I don't know how we're going to make that interesting. But I've actually been surprised that it is interesting. It's, to find out all of the things that he did beyond just investing in financials. You find out what he actually did for common people. And it sounds kind of corny, but what he did to change really the direction of finances in America.
Now we are having the gala premiere for the documentary Money Man, and it's going to be at the Norris Theater on Friday, November the 13th, not a difficult day to remember the date. It's going to be big and flashy and glitzy, and I hope be a real celebration of the Peninsula, not just of the documentary movie, but of what Frank Vanderlip did here and what a beautiful place he left us. So we're going to have a red carpet and a VIP dinner and party and a parade with some beautiful old cars in it over to the theater. And everyone coming is going to be able to be part of the red carpet event. I think it's going to be really fun.
For ticket information to attend the gala premiere, you can go to frankvanderlip.com or you can call 310-373-6018. And that will do it for us from everyone here at RPV TV. Make it a great day.